and I felt like I was walking on air. I had to maintain laser focus to defy it and get less dense, but I was able to get really less dense, so much so that I could feel the energy in my physical body becoming less dense and move further apart. You can also make a small area of the physical world a lot less dense and do some really crazy stuff like grow arms and legs. That would take a lot of energy because the more you defy the matrix AI, the more energy it takes. So it would be easier with a group of people. If millions of people knew how to do this, we could reduce the density of the physical world so that we can use our godlike abilities. Their system of control would be gone by morning. I can actually manipulate energy enough to reverse the aging process. Just spend a few minutes imagining yourself at a younger age. It really does work. So if people would wake up, we could reprogram the matrix into a paradise. Once enough people wake up, we can free ourselves and reprogram the physical world into a paradise. The grid is programmed by intention, so we can reprogram the grid to change reality. So the grid is the key to changing the matrix. Small groups of people in small areas could reprogram or remove the grid and make the physical world like an astral world. They could create paradise on Earth in small areas. The veil is what pulls us back. Otherwise, we could go over to the astral and stay for as long as we want. I scanned the veil with my psychic abilities. It's getting weaker and thinner. It used to be a much more powerful energy field, but it's considerably weaker than it was the last time I scanned it. So the veil is coming down. This could also be one reason why my psychic abilities are going through the roof. The veil is thinning, and the programs and illusions are much easier to see through. I've learned that negative energy is why the physical world is so dense. I conjured up some positive energy and started neutralizing negative energy, and I felt a lot less dense. So this is the key. If we can neutralize negative energy and start putting out positive energy, we can make reality less dense enough to use our godlike abilities. A small group of people could do this in a small area. The trick is to remove all the negative energy from a small area, which will make it less dense, and make it, he said, you have to completely clear a small area of negative energy. Not an easy thing to do, considering the AI will just try to move more negative energy into the area through the grid, but it can be done. We can clear out small areas with small groups of people, make it less dense enough to use our godlike abilities. It's possible to affect this world, and there have been studies done where a small group of people working together can make significant changes. The more people, the more they're able to affect things. One person can influence reality, but it takes more time. People who practice magic are probably the best at doing this. This world is just a much denser and slowed down version of the astral. And he talks about how to get rid of dense energy. He said it just takes focused intention. Just repeat the words less dense for a few minutes and you'll start getting less dense. Use the intention, remove dense energy to clear out the dense energy that makes up your physical body and inner energy field. It also helps to do this on a high vibration because you're more out of phase with the low frequency matrix control system and matrix AI. And clearing the negative energy from your energy field also helps because that weighs you down. I can sense that the physical world is artificially dense because of an energy field that makes things dense. I can make small areas of the physical world less dense using focused intention. Just repeat the phrase less dense or neutralize dense energy field. It takes 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes. Though a lot of people probably wouldn't take as long. Dozens or hundreds of people can make larger areas less dense. Millions of people can make the entire planet less dense. Once it's a lot less dense, we can use our godlike abilities we have in the afterlife. It doesn't have to be done on that large of a scale. Dozens or hundreds of people can make reality less dense in a smaller area. And then manifest what they want out of thin air. At that point, the elite wouldn't stand a chance of being able to control us and their system would fall. This is the end game, and this is how we win. If people figure out that it isn't physical and it's really just energy, they may try to manipulate it with their mind. And if they learn to make it less dense, it could bring down the control system. Think what could be accomplished if you make reality so much less dense that you can manifest objects out of thin air. We can start to end poverty, disease, famine, etc. We can make food out of thin air. Also, once people do this, they will no longer have to work. They won't need money. Instead of houses being built, they will just be manifested out of thin air. The elite system of control relies on scarcity and can't withstand people using their godlike abilities. But if we make the physical world less dense enough, we can do crazy things like flying, teleportation, telekinesis, shape-shifting, manifest objects, etc. Things we can do in the astral. We can bring an end to poverty, disease, war, famine, etc. I just did an experiment to see if I could actually jump through the veil, and I felt myself phasing out of the physical world and into the astral. Use intention to remove as much dense energy from your physical body as you can to make it more thought responsive. Then raise your vibration high as you end up in a nice afterlife world instead of a scary one. The rest of us will leave the matrix and leave them to their slavery and go do something more fun in the afterlife.
Yeah, that is what I always said. We can do it ourselves, and we do not have to wait for Trump to come back in 2020.
Right.
Actually, it's almost ridiculous how stubborn we are, that we are not seeing it, that we are not doing it, that we are not using our power, and instead rely on some type of savior figure that might never come.
It's like they've got a spell on the whole world, and like the Wetico, the mass psychosis, and it's crazy. We're sleepwalking through all of this. It's amazing. You're right. I can't believe it. We haven't already done this, mind-boggling. So he says, I think it may be possible to jump the physical body to the other side of the veil and be free of the physical world. I can make my physical body a lot less dense than it normally is. I could probably do even more, but the AI fights me when I do it and tries to make me more dense, but I can override it. So if I can do that, why not jump to the other side of the veil? Then you're no longer under the control of the AI, and you can go where you want to from there. You can't come to the physical world unless you reincarnate, but the rules in the astral are nowhere near as strict. So we can go over there and a lot easier than they can come here. So we could theoretically jump the physical body to the other side of the veil. It seems physical because that's an illusion created by energy fields. So once you jump your physical body to the astral, you're beyond the reach and control of the AI that runs the matrix. And from there, you can go and do whatever you want. The AI would try to fight you, but overriding it long enough to make the jump should be pretty easy, especially with a group of people. A group of people could do this much more easily than an individual, but I think an individual could do it too. So if people want out of the matrix, this is one way out. So I recently acquired the ability to sense timeline shifts. I got sucked down to a really negative timeline. I tried to manifest an energy field to shift to a positive timeline, and it worked. But because I have so much bad karma, the matrix tried to violently shift me to a negative timeline. So I'm getting rid of the bad karma, and I'm going to shift to a positive timeline. Once I clear the bad karma and shift the house and people I care about to a positive timeline, the entity won't be able to harm us because he won't be able to exist on the super positive timeline. I modified my energy field to keep him out. I was messing with something I shouldn't have and got hit with a lot of bad karma that sent me to a negative timeline. A really negative timeline. So he says, I asked him how to do it, sort of, and he said, just do it slowly. But, yeah, anyway, that's pretty much, everything up to date. I don't know about the karma thing, I guess if you believe in the karma, it can affect you, but I think maybe he means consequences, just things that you've done have a cause and effect, maybe.
If we understand it as the original term, the principle of cause and effect, okay, I'm on board.
Right.
But the second it gets this, what you get in church as well. You take your first breath as an infant and right away you are a sinner. Because we tell you.
Right. Yeah, that's just crazy. It's a very negative teaching is that you're born in sin and you're just these nasty human beings that are in need of saving, and of course God can do. I like the thing George Carlin said where he said that God created this hell that he's got. Like if you're not perfect and you don't do everything he says to do, he's created this place where he can send you where there's tormenting and anguishing and all this stuff. But he loves you. He loves you. And this is so contradicting. It's like,
yeah,
that is a very distorted. Personally, I said it many times. I don't think that any of the religions that we have will bring us to the true Creator. I don't think.
I agree. It's got to be done from within, and you can manifest whatever you want, but each one of them have a teaching that will, like even in the Tibetan Buddhism and stuff, where the belief in the Bodhisattva, becoming Bodhisattva and coming back until every last soul is freed, and all. I mean, that's a very limiting belief, in my opinion. So I don't know.
Of course, and you know what? The crazy thing is, for you to be a Bodhisattva, there have to be enslaved human beings.
There have to be people that need saving, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you set that intention, I want to be a Bodhisattva to come and save billions of souls, well, you just, with that intention, manifested a billion souls that are suffering and in need of saving. It's like a vicious circle,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that was the last belief structure that I ditched many years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm happy
me too. I had a progression, probably the same one as you and many others,
Yeah.
I started out, my parents sent me to catechism as a Catholic, So I got a good dose of that. You're an evil sinner stuff,
Yeah.
What a wonderful way. You have to deprogram yourself, basically.
Yeah. What a wonderful way to mess up a young mind. Yeah. Tell them from the get-go, you're a sinner, and if you do not this and that and that and this, then God will punish you.
Right.
Forever.
Right. And they didn't, and in the 10 Commandments, he just seemed to forget about slavery, right? But,
I
don't know. 10's a nice round number, right? It's easy to remember. But anyway, I don't want to be construed as being like a hate speech against Christianity, in this new world. It's just, not my bag.
No. Look, I talk to Christians. I have them on my channel, and, I think they have wonderful research. Yeah. Of course, it is through that lens. Yeah. And I'm aware of that, but you don't have to excuse yourself because you are a Christian or a Buddhist.
I think the Gnostic Christians got a lot more of it correct. I mean, they were basically two competing groups at the same time in like middle of the 2nd century or whatever. And it goes back further than that, but and basically they were eliminated. Their teachings were destroyed, and I guess might makes right, and they destroyed them, and now that's what we have for mainstream Christianity is what's some of these teachings that aren't quite correct. The way I would put it. But I think in Gnostic Christianity, they did talk about a matrix and a demiurge and archons and a lot more. A lot of stuff was eliminated from the Bible that people have today.
Yeah, that's, that is so the Council of Nicaea, where they determined which books go into the Bible and which books do not. Yeah, why should I trust that?
Right. So like the Gospel of Thomas and the Secret Book of Mark, and there's a lot of Gnostic texts, like even the Vista Sophia, that, I mean, they're just, wow, mind opening, compared to all the stuff that I had been told, They kind of left out part of the story.
Yeah. Did he, probably not. Did he in any way, shape or form talk about alternate realities? This theory that you make a decision and then...
It splits universe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, other than jumping timeline shifts, and no, he hasn't mentioned anything along those. But I was thinking very deeply the other day about because I really struggle with the notion of free will and what causes me to have thoughts and impulses. Where do those impulses come from? And if we all did start from this one monad, then maybe I'm just following through on the impulses I get from that one awareness. And so I was thinking, but then how does that one awareness? How did it have an impulse to have a desire to want to split and experience itself from all these different perspectives? And I started thinking, well, maybe it's just every possibility is out there and is just gone through, which means there's many realities that are way better than this, and then there could be some that are even more horrific than this, So
but I would like to know
with the splitting of realities.
But I would like to know, if that is true, that all possibilities have to play out. What is the mechanism? Who or what is deciding who gets to play out the shit show, and who gets the goodies and who gets the intermedium thing? So there are a lot of questions, I guess, that need to be asked. If they can be answered, I don't know. But
and the song that came to me
theory
was,
as it stands, I'm not really happy with that.
No, I'm not happy with anything, to be honest. I thought, but the thing that comes to mind is this song. I don't know, it was like the 80s or something, but Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians, he had this song called What I Am. And it's like, where she talks about religion's a smile on a dog and philosophy is a walk on a slippery rock. And then she, the chorus basically is what I am, are you what you are or what? And it's like, in the end, we're just dogs trying to figure out calculus. I mean, I don't know if there's any way we can figure out from that high level when we're down here. And in the end, we are what we are, and there's not much we can do at this point right now I mean, you can work like with some of the things we've talked about in this interview, but ultimately, I don't know that we can ever know the ultimate truth. And to me, the biggest truth is that it's like a dream and it's imagination, and we can manifest whatever we want. And we need to get rid of that subconscious limiting belief systems that we have and take control of our own destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say it is high time to do that.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. But hopefully these will be this is food for thought and some tips and tricks on to get people in the right direction. It's not meant to be the final insight of everything,
No, of course not. These are the experiences of one individual, and they may or may not help somebody.
Right.
Yeah, but ditching our rigid belief structures, that's a biggie. And not only religion, that is politics and financial, media, what have you. Yeah. Yeah.
And just like you were saying earlier, like I think you said it, but like self-doubt and beating yourself up and having, not giving yourself enough credit or not even believing you have the freedom or ability to do certain things. That's another big, and of course that's been shoved down our throats since day one too, is that you can't do everything. You're just some weak person.
Yeah, exactly.
And Christianity does a good job of implanting that one in you.
Yeah, but he said a lot of things that I felt for a long time, that it really has a lot to do with our intention, that we have to trust ourselves, that we should stop beating ourselves up, that we should smash our rigid belief structures and so on and so forth, and go for it.
Yeah, almost everything he said resonated with me. Almost so much that it felt like it was me writing it. I mean, I've been saying 90% of the stuff all along anyway, but when he started talking about sensing these different energy fields that create the matrix and how he's able to see it, I mean, I don't know, only he knows whether he can actually see it or sense it, or he has these psychic abilities or all these OBEs, but that it's just another angle that, just kind of verifies or confirms what we've been saying for a while.
Yeah.
From, I mean, not just near-death experiencers, but there's also out-of-body experiencers. I mean, even recently, Courtney Brown of the Farsight Institute, I think it is, he's a remote viewer, and he has this section, this video or something on the white light trap and all this stuff. So almost every endeavor or field of research, I mean, almost the big heavyweights are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So
there you have it.
Go to the white light at your own risk is all I have to say.
Yeah. So that was it, Nightflight for today. You have an idea how to navigate the afterlife, the astral. If those ideas do not sit well with you, you can dismiss that, no problem. So thank you very much for coming, Wayne. And
thank you for having me.
And we'll see you on next time. And until then, have a great life.
All right.
Stay safe.
Help.